to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What's up, Forgers? Welcome to Season 3, Episode number 114 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm, where the kits are made up and the heroes matter. As always, this podcast is brought to you by our outstanding supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. This is your show host, Jeff Reynolds, and I'm here with the co-host of the show, who is more awesome than a solid chocolate Easter bunny, Kristen Ashton.
Well, a happy Easter to you too, Jeff. Now, how many solid chocolate Easter bunnies do you remember having destroyed in your Easter years?
0, because they're never solid, Kristen. At least I've never found one that's like rock solid. You always bite into the ear and you see that bunny is hollow. And that's exactly how it made me feel. Hollow and empty inside.
Oh no, not even a hole that the spirit of Easter could fill.
Only a hole that chocolate could fill, and it never did. No, but a happy Easter out there to all of you that are listening on this Sunday. If you're listening to it later in the week, happy belated Easter. We hope you have a great day spending it with friends and family, and maybe getting some games in as well, because there's lots going on in Heroes of the Storm. Kristen, welcome back to the show after your what sounds to be an amazing vacation.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I come back, our scaled ruins. We went to the jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula and walked through Mayan cities that had been grown over with trees and howler monkeys and spider monkeys. And I was so sad that we didn't summon any forest spirits, you know? Because you always go into those places thinking, yeah, I'm special. I'm the one who'll kick off this adventure. But at the same time, because of the human sacrifice aspect of their culture, I don't know if I'd want to go on a Mayan adventure.
Yeah, maybe if you brought them back, though, you might be considered like their Loa.
That's true. And then you occupy the top rung of their society. But then your blood's even more valuable. And they valued blood. That's why, you would cut yourself, but then sacrifice.
So it got you into the Battle for Azeroth Zandalari troll spirit, so to speak.
Exactly. So you can't really do that anymore in real life, so why not go to World of Warcraft and do it in the fake life?
That's right. So tell me, here's a question about vacations that I'm curious about. Were you ever out there on your cruising around and thinking, man, oh man, all I want to do right now is play some Heroes of the Storm?
Actually, no. Because vacation is a great time to get away from the worries of the world. If you do vacation right, you're in a place where you're just locked off from society, and you lock off from people complaining in games and complaining on Twitter and complaining on the internet, and you get refreshed. And you visit places like Mexico and you realize just how wonderful life is. And you come back and you go, you know what? This all doesn't really matter. Let's all be happy. Let's enjoy what we have and the fact that we can even play heroes in the first place.
That's right. And then in turn, it increases your experience when you're playing these games then. So it's just one big circle of life, as Mufasa would say. Very cool. So have you seen Phoenix? Have you had a chance to play Phoenix? How you feeling about Phoenix?
Phoenix is a ton of fun. I love that he's a little spider, or as it was discovered, he's like the bottom half of Asmodan, just kind of walking around. And I love his circle laser thing. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Daz was on the show last week, and he told me that I needed to get on Phoenix and try it out, because I told him I don't play a lot of Assassins, so I went in there and played some Phoenix. Man, I was owning. I played 3 games and got MVP every game. So, I mean, who knows? New main.
Congratulations, right? You might as well before he gets nerfed.
I know.
It's kind of like when Shower Curtains was released. She was amazing. You're winning games left and right. And then she gets the nerf and suddenly no more Shower Curtains.
That's right. Well, we'll see what happens with Phoenix as we move forward. Speaking of things moving forward, what's all this rumbling about PAX East? I'm telling you, everybody's talking about it. Jeff Kanata was on Into the Nexus talking to Garrett about it and saying that whatever is going to be released at PAX East is going to be BlizzCon level of announcement. What could it possibly be?
I have no idea, no clue. Everyone is being amazing when it comes to being tight-lipped about this. I'm so excited that all of the people chosen have remained tight-lipped. No leaks, as far as anyone is concerned, have been released, and that's awesome.
Yep. So if I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, I'm going to guess either it's Draenei. Maybe we're finally going to see a Draenei in the game. Or maybe we're going to finally see Deckard Cain in the game. Who knows?
I think he's the big one. He's the big contender, as it were, for reveals. Because who's more iconic in the Blizzard universe than Deckard Cain?
I mean, we're going to have to find out. PAX East is coming up, so maybe we'll find out soon. Who knows? But let's do what we're here to do, and let's forge.
Let's forge.
That's right, this is Heroes Forge, where we're imagining kits for characters that aren't in Heroes of the Storm yet. So we get to have a bunch of fun and just come up with what these characters might look like if they were included in the game someday. Deckard Cain is a hero that we talked about many, many moons ago, and today is no different. We're talking about a character that is much, much newer in the Blizzard franchise, I should say, but someone that a lot of people really like her backstory, really like the game she's part of, obviously. I mean, they created an entire league around this game. I mean, Kristen, who are we forging today?
Well, today we are taking on Sombra from Overwatch. And I will not forget her release video at that BlizzCon. I was just shocked with the insane reaction that happened because I'm not a big Overwatch player, so me saying I hadn't heard anything of this isn't really a big reveal on my part. But I was just shocked with how positive the excitement was with that video and her little boop on the nose.
Yeah, everybody loved that. I mean, Overwatch is a different game, obviously, but in a lot of different respects when it comes to hero releases, Heroes of the Storm sees a lot of hero releases throughout the year, where Overwatch sees maybe a couple a year. So I think that community, when a new hero is released, really goes crazy. It completely changes the way that the game plays, and pretty quickly, too, as we see a new hero was just introduced to Overwatch about a week ago. So that's kind of shaking that all up now, and Sombra was no different. It was the same type of feel. And I'm like you, Kristen, I don't play a whole lot of Overwatch. I do like the game. I love the art style. I love the way that the game plays. I think it's a really cool take on that type of game that we're so used to playing for so many years. But Sombra is a really cool way of bending the rules inside of Overwatch, ways that we had never seen in that type of game before.
Totally. And they brought her in as a hacker too. So on top of that, clearly she's going to need to be able to affect the world around her. If she's a hacker with computers, how do you then transfer that to the people she's fighting if they're fleshies and they're not computer-based?
Right. But I mean, that's perfect example of, how this Overwatch world is all built on tech. So if you have a hacker on your team, I mean, there's a lot that you can do. So give us a little background on Sombra and her place in Overwatch.
Will do. Originally Olivia Colomar, Sombra grew up as one of the many orphans left behind after the Omnic Crisis. While not physically intimidating, her ability to manipulate people and information led her to become a talented hacker. After needing to completely disappear following the discovery of a global conspiracy, she re-emerged with her new name, a new implant, and a new purpose. To delve deeper into that conspiracy and bring down those that would use power to pollute the world. First to fall was Guillermo Potero of Lumerico. After this, Sombra brokered a private deal with Katya Volskaya of Volskaya Industries. Sombra would refrain from revealing Katya's dealing with the Omnics, and Katya would act as a friend to Sombra.
So cool. I mean, the fact that, she has I guess, is this the right term for it? A bionic implant that helps her, hack things via, gestures?
I think so. I think it's very Minority Report in that sense, right? You don't need the screen there because she's got her own built-in screen, but it's all that that visual pull up, touch the air.
Yeah, it's cool. She has a great look in the game. She's got a great attitude. Like, it's one of those attitudes where it's kind of villainous, you know, in the game, like a Reaper kind of feel. And she's in there just hacking stuff up.
Hacking away. And the best part too is that I love how they've split up the good guys and the bad guys, right? Because you have the Overwatch team, and then you've got the team with Reaper and Widowmaker and Sombra. And the bad guys aren't really bad.
Yeah.
They're a bit more selfish than the good guys.
I know. I really like the way that they've done that. There's no... I mean, and I think that comes from it being a... MMO originally when they first created this world, right? Because if you take Warcraft for an example, there's the Horde and there's the Alliance. And if you explained the World of Warcraft to somebody, they would say, okay, so the Horde are the bad guys. You're like, no, the Horde aren't the bad guys. Like, that's not how it works. You can play as a Horde character or you can play as an Alliance character. It's the same type of feel to me in Overwatch, where you can say, well, you can go out there and you can play Reinhardt or you can play Sombra, right? Oh, okay, so Sombra's the bad guy. No, it doesn't really work like that. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. You get layers, which makes for a more intriguing story than when you just do bad guy, good guy.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I mean, having this bionic implant to be able to hack things is really neat. And her story is awesome. I mean, basically, it's a story that we've heard before. She's an orphan. She goes out there. She tries to, bring justice to what happened to her. There's a little bit of revenge in there. There's a little bit of, all these good juicy details that kind of fuel a good character into doing something pretty epic in the game.
Yeah, totally. And she's not above betraying her teammates either, which is always an extra point in my book, because when you've got a goal that supersedes the good of the group, that can lead to some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's very Game of Thronesy, which is really, really cool. All right, then let's get on to it. If we were to bring Sombra into the Nexus, what would she do? How would she act? How would she play? And using this backstory kind of as a springboard for us to bring this to life. Of course, this is all theory crafting stuff that we're just coming up with. And we just talk about the fun bits here where we kind of go through and leave the number mashing and all of that stuff up to the professionals. So, of course, as we always talk about when we talk about Overwatch heroes that we've seen in the past, when an Overwatch hero comes into the Nexus, for the most part, their kit almost perfectly transports over from what they were playing. One of the best examples of that is Tracer, right? She's got the same types of moves that she has in Overwatch. But that's also an example of how the Heroes team does an amazing job of molding what that character is able to do in the Nexus, because it isn't a first-person shooter. I mean, with her reload and her grenades and getting her ultimate, all of those types of things are really cool ways that they've kind of futzed with that to make it work in Heroes of the Storm. So we would assume that if Sombra was to come over to the Nexus, she would have a lot of the abilities and things that she does in Overwatch, same over here. So what we do to challenge ourselves when we talk about Overwatch heroes is we try to think outside of those abilities and use the lore to build something different just for fun. I will start this week, and the first thing we always talk about is role classifications in the game. And Kristen, I'm going with the specialist.
Yes, I agree with you entirely. So why did you go with the specialist, though?
This one I did backwards, right? So I started thinking about what I wanted her trait to be and how I wanted her to feel and play. I went in and I played a bunch of games as Sombra in Overwatch just to kind of get the feel for it. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on in there that we already see in Heroes. So I thought, how do we reorganize this a little bit so that it can be useful in a specialist role? So that's how I got to that area.
Awesome. I like it. And two, with the specialist, you can't just hack heroes, because the heroes in Heroes of the Storm aren't necessarily mech based, right? There are skins, but Dahaka's a Zerg.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. So you'll kind of see how I built that in there as well. So let's get started with the trait for this specialist, Sombra. I'm calling it broadband. So in this kit, Sombra will be a specialist that will want to get in and out of battle quickly to hack into useful items and turn the tide of battle for her team. When this trait is activated, Sombra connects to the Nexus, and all of her abilities and auto attacks have a massively increased damage. This will give the hacker more range to play with the enemy team. So you're basically activating this, and all of your abilities, you're on the World Wide Web broadband style.
Nice. Now, how good is the connection? Will it pop in and out? Are we gonna see? Are you getting what you pay for? I guess is the question Sombra needs to be asking.
Yes, she's getting what she pays for. She's got the full-on Google Fiber, 1 terabyte down. She's got the full download and upload speed. And the way that I see this working is, you can see that she connects. The art for Sombra is so great in the game, where these purple lines and kind of matrixy looking animations happen. And I imagine that when you activate this, the enemy team would be able to see it because you'd be walking on the Nexus, and the Nexus would be more like those purple tiles that build it, instead of what we see as Sky Temple or what we see as Volsky Industries. Like, she's walking on the computer program, so you would be able to see, her abilities and auto attack ranges are increased.
Oh, nice. Cool. So you're thinking then the lights on the ground that indicate this Nexus, they expand so you can see where the lights end, so you know where her abilities would reach.
Yeah, maybe that would be a way to look into it. I was just originally thinking that it would just show maybe right underneath her model there. And so you would know, you still wouldn't know the full extent of the range unless you practiced it, but you would know that at that time, for that small amount of time, she would have increased range.
Gotcha. So you're thinking a small amount of time. So would this be something she would turn on to secure a kill and then it turns off? Or is this something you could just leave on in the hopes of damaging enough before it goes away?
It would be timed, so it wouldn't be like a Zul'jin where you can just turn on Berserker and just take as much damage and leave it on as you go. If you activate it, it would have a short amount of time where you were able to do these things, and it builds into the rest of her basic abilities. So we'll just get into that right now. But before we do, let's talk about the mount. So I'm imagining, have we talked about Reboot on this show before? That old cartoon?
I don't think we have, but I'm always ready to talk about Reboot and hexadecimal.
So these people in Reboot live inside, people, quote unquote, these characters live inside of a computer, right? So I'm taking the angle of this is that the Nexus is actually a computer game that these characters are going and living in. So Sombra's mount, she knows how to manipulate this world because she's a hacker. So her mount is basically, she's going to have, some sort of laser cutter on her wrist that she points at the ground. And what her mounting animation would be her doing like a circle or drawing a shape on the ground. And that piece of the Nexus is going to break off and start floating in the air. And that's going to be her mount. So she kind of draws a circle around herself, and it breaks off like as maybe if it's even a hex, right? And she floats on it, and that would be her mount.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. And I love that this is an animation you could fit into the load up time, right? And it's maybe that's a mount only she can use.
Yeah.
But she could, use a horse if she wanted to.
Yeah, for sure. That would be her own little personal mount. And she's going to take these abilities into battle with her. Her first one is called You've Got Mail. So Sombra will fire, she'll fire a dial-up laser in a straight line, which will deal damage and pierce all enemies that are hit. Enemies that are hit with this will also be marked and their attack speed decreased for a short amount of time.
Let's not forget how slow dial-up was. I think that works real well. Also, would it make the sound that those beeping noises as it fires?
Absolutely. Like the modem sound.
Yes.
Who knew what that was doing? Really, really smart people, but the rest of the world, why did we need to hear that?
I don't know. All I know is that sometimes mom would get mad because it would tie up the phone lines. That's all I knew.
I would get mad when someone would call the house and it would drop the connection.
Oh, those were the worst, right? You couldn't, because you had to make sure you always saved where you were or remembered the web page that you were on. Otherwise, it may take another 5 hours to get back there.
That's right. And you want to surf those Pokemon cards online and try to find that holographic Charizard on the old school eBay.
Exactly. Anime lyrics, man.
That's right. So I'm mainly thinking that this ability lives in a team fight scenario, yes, but more of a merc camp scenario where you're able to slow down the attacks of the mercenaries that are attacking you and use your other abilities like the second one called hack. So this is a little much, so stick with me here. So this ability will allow Sombra to hack into the following items when activated. Each of this hacking process will take Sombra a select amount of time depending on the type of thing she is hacking into. So the first one is mercenary camps, and this one takes a medium amount of time, I'm saying. So Sombra is able to hack into mercenary camps when they are 50% health or lower. When the camp is hacked, it will always be captured for the Sombra player, no matter what team completes the camp. She can also hack into camps that have been captured by the enemy team. This hack deals damage to the camp, and once it's completed, that damaged camp will fight for Sombra's team. So there's two parts to this. The first one is if an enemy team is taking a camp, right? They're on the sappers. It's at a collective 50% less health. She can use her increased range with her trait, get close enough to where she needs to be, hack that camp, and what it will do is if it's captured in the time that it's hacked, then it'll go for the Sombra side.
I like that. I really like this. Now, will the enemy team know if it's hacked or not? Will there be a visual indicator?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that you could probably talent into changing the way that the visual indicator shows with talents. Like maybe it's a talent that you take later in the game where it's less prevalent, or maybe you can give fake visual indicators to some camps. Like imagine if you were taking a camp and that indicator showed up. You're like, okay, don't capture the camp until this hack goes away, but it's not real. I mean, there's a whole thing you could do with that.
Totally. And then a question for the range. So when you increase your range, how does that affect your vision as well? So could you hide in a bush, activate the range, and suddenly you have vision of the whole thing so you can see the camp being taken?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're hacking into like the cameras of the Nexus, right? That's kind of how I see it. Like you can see this whole fake world that Sombra is living in. And then of course, if there is a camp that's pushing one of your lanes, you can hack that camp, and while you're hacking it, that camp is taking damage. So if you're going to steal a pushing camp from the enemy team, it will never be full health when you steal it, because you're going to be dealing damage to it as you're hacking into it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then, it's a nice little way to balance out the OP-ness of being able to steal somebody's camps.
Yeah, because that would be really, really powerful to be able to do that. Really powerful. But there are two other things that you can hack. The next one is that you can hack healing fountains, and this one falls on the short end of the time that it takes to hack something. So Sombra can hack all healing fountains on the battlefield. Friendly hacked healing fountains will provide additional health for a small amount of time, and enemy hacked healing fountains will deal damage to the enemy if they're used. Imagine that, Kristen. Somebody's rolling past the gate. They're like, all I have to do is get to this healing fountain. They take a sip of that fountain and bam, they blow up.
That would be amazing. So would it work reverse healing fountain where it deals a set amount of damage to begin with and then it ticks away health over time?
Yeah, let's say that. I think that's fair. And also using your trait to increase your range, you would be able to hack a fountain that was behind a wall.
So good. That would make those 1v1 lanes so much more enjoyable, because how great is it when you're the Genji and you're just standing there poking at their healing fountain until it dies and the enemy team is just frustrated as all get out.
I know. Talk about frustrating is the last thing that you can hack is map objectives. And this will take the longest amount of time for Sombra to hack. So Sombra is able to hack a map objective on the battlefield. And when it's hacked, it is not able to be captured by the enemy team for a short amount of time. So this would take a long time to do. But it would be for Dragonshire, for example, right? You roll down to the bottom, your team captures that point, you would put a hack on it so that if the enemy team comes in and they try to capture that, it basically increases the amount of time that they would need to spend in that area in order to capture it, because they have to wait for the hack to wear off before they start capturing it.
Gotcha. So as soon as the hack is placed, it's going to count down wearing off, correct? Okay, cool. So you'd have to be careful about when you place the hack. You can't just place it, leave it, and it'll start its countdown once the enemy shows up.
Right, yeah, no, that's where the skill would come in, being able to do that. Also, imagine, again, with this increased range on your trait, if you were in a bush and somebody was trying to capture a tribute and you were on the other side of the bush, you could hack it so it took them, they had to wait for that hack to fall off while your enemy team was getting into position. It's basically delaying the capture of that point.
So powerful. So powerful. And then you get another ranged person, so you trade off who's delaying the grab.
That's right. You get Raynor in there. Everybody's loving on Raynor right now. Just get Raynor in that game and keep poking him off of the tributes. Into my third basic ability, this one's called Translocator, and this is just too good from Overwatch. It has to be in Heroes of the Storm if Sombra ever comes over, so I kind of futzed with it a little bit here. So when this ability is activated, Sombra tosses a Translocator ball a good distance on the battlefield. When the Translocator hits the ground, it opens up and it will immediately transport Sombra to its location. This ability can be used offensively to engage the enemy or defensively to disengage and to get out of a sticky situation. So this is basically the what is Sylvanas' ability called? Howling Winds or Howling Wave?
Oh, it's that Banshee Blast. I know it's not Banshee Blast, but
yeah, but
Haunting Wave. It's
Haunting Wave. So, but she can activate that anywhere in its path, correct? Like she can send it off, and even if it's a half a millimeter away from her, she could activate it again and transport to its spot. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this works differently in the fact of you're going to throw this a certain direction, and whenever it lands, you immediately transport to its landing spot, and it has a fixed range.
Cool, but a fixed range within a circle, so you can be pretty adaptive as to where you place it. Now, question, would it be tethered? And please tell me no. I hate tethered abilities.
Tethered? What do you mean by that? Like,
tethered is that stupid thing where, let's say you're Sonya and you're gonna do leap, and leaping is right outside of your range. But if you hit leap, it'll jump you as far as you possibly can. So if you don't judge the distance accurately, you whiff your leap.
Oh, so
Tyrael has it too on one of his sword throws.
Oh.
At least they did, unless they changed it.
Okay, no, I don't think it's tethered.
Cool. I support this.
So you're basically going to have two charges of this. So you're going to be able to, throw it out, transport to another side, and then throw it in a different direction if you want to. A huge part of how Sombra plays in Overwatch is she's stealth, right? She has the stealth feel. So I wanted to give her in my kit a stealth feel without actually being stealth. You don't know where she's going to be or go sometimes because she's fast. So she would be squishy in the end as well. So let's talk about some heroics. So this first one is called Nexus Architect. So when this is activated, Sombra's going to kneel down on the battlefield and she'll begin casting this ability, which will spread a purple code all over the ground of the Nexus. Players that are standing on this code will have the key bindings of their keyboard switched. So when they step out of the code, they'll return to their original keys. This will only move to keys to other used keys in the game. So, for example, Q might move to W and so on. This will spread a good distance out from Sombra, and she must stay channeling, kind of like a lurking arm. She has to stay there and channel it while it's going around. But imagine the chaos this would cause if you were stepping in and out and you were constantly looking at your at your ability bar trying to figure out what abilities are. Maybe you activate your heroic on accident. I mean, it would be crazy.
Oh my goodness, this is a great idea. And this is a barrel full of monkeys idea where I just love it. But to fight against it or to watch someone on your team walk into it, oh, buddy.
So, I mean, it's avoidable, right? I mean, maybe that's where I kind of think it sort of balances itself out. Also, would that be fun to play against? Probably not. I mean, it would be really frustrating to have to be watching this, and then maybe if the team fight is happening and she's dropped this, Nexus Architect in the middle of the team fight, you could memorize where your skills were real quick and just get it done real fast. I mean, I don't know if this would work or not.
I think it would. I think it totally would. And the players that could adapt quickly would be rewarded for their ability to adapt. And I don't think it's any more annoying than a Stukov silence on the ground. Like you noted, you don't have to stand in it, and it's not going to mess with your movement mouse buttons, correct?
Correct. No, it just messes with your Q, W, E, and R. So, I don't know. I think it would be fun to do. I think that's how you show somebody has been hacked in this game. Like it's just messing with their mind maybe. Maybe it's this sort of like psi emitter that messes with their mind, and that's what makes them think, I want to do this, no, I want to do that, and it would be weird.
Yeah, totally. And it would make you feel like you're not in control of your character, which it works perfectly into that hacking thing. And what if she shows up on your screen and does like a little boop to your nose and you go, no!
The famous boop. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe she boops you and that's what changes your abilities all around crazily. The second heroic is called EMP because this is another thing she's super known for in Overwatch. So with EMP, it's a ranged hack bomb that will set all enemy heroics on cooldown in the area. This can also be used to hack from a distance using the same chart as her W ability. Sombra will be able to toss the bomb after a short delay and it will explode with purple energy affecting all units in the area. So you're basically giving yourself a ranged heroic cooldown bomb.
I like it. Sort of a silence in a sense, even though it's just heroics, but it's still a heroic silence. And since it's only the heroics, I wonder if you could get away with making this last longer than a Sylvanas arrow, right?
Well, yeah, no, I'm thinking that it goes on full cooldown.
Oh.
So maybe that's too powerful.
I
So
like that.
ETC rolls into battle. If he gets hit with this EMP, you're not using Mosh Pit for quite some time.
That is a pretty neat way to start a fight. So you need, yeah, and of course it would rest on Sombra to land a good hit. Now, how would this be? You throw it and it immediately explodes. Do you activate it? Does it land and count down? I mean, how would you control this?
I think that you would throw it kind of like a grenade, right? But maybe it takes her a second to maybe she pulls up her minority report panel, starts typing something in. She's got this grenade ready to go. So you're the enemy team. You know what's going to happen. You know where you shouldn't be standing or what you shouldn't be doing. And then she throws it and you'll be able to see it. And maybe it's got a slower path because it's really powerful. And it doesn't have a very big, maybe like an original Flame Strike circle area that anybody that's in that little Flame Strike circle would take this. But who knows?
Dude, go Phoenix. Go Phoenix, Eric. Go big or go home.
High period.
This thing is amazing. I would love, because, you want to make sure you at least hit the people in the center because they wouldn't have enough time to run outward. Because if you can at least get one person, it's a heroic for a heroic.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. That'd be really, really fun to play with. Probably frustrating to play against, especially if Sombra was targeting one hero over and over. Like, okay, ETC went Mosh Pit. We never want to see a Mosh Pit. So Sombra, make that happen. And then that puts some pressure on you to try to make that happen. And who knows? Who knows how that would all work out? Complete side note. With Phoenix, the new hero in Heroes of the Storm, Planet Cracker is so fun. It is so fun. And in my league, it is a destroyer of teams.
That's amazing. Do people just stand in it? They go, what is this?
I mean, yes. Or they're running away. So they kill me. They have no health left. They're running away. and I can clearly kind of figure out where they're going to be running as they run into the fog of war. I respawn, hit R all the way across the battlefield, bam, get the kill. It is so satisfying. I don't think I've laughed so hard in this game since Planet Cracker.
So many friends trying to chat with you after the game.
Yeah, I got a lot of friend requests.
It's pretty popular, and that's awesome. Well, it's great to hear you found an assassin that speaks to you.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. Okay, back to Sombra. That's my specialist kit there. It's pretty much using her trait to increase the range to be able to slow down your enemy's attacks or mercenary camps, hack into things like mercenary camps, map objectives, healing fountains, also use the translocator to help position yourself where you want to be. Then, of course, the two heroics, the first one is Nexus Architect, shuffling around the abilities on their hotbar, and then EMP, which is going to take away a heroic if it hits somebody and put it on its full cooldown. Just an overall menace. That's what I wanted her to feel like. So that's what we've got.
So another tracer, basically. So a flighty little thing that just wreaks havoc if you can't lock her down.
Yeah, and she like has an Uzi and stuff, or a semi-automatic machine gun, and it's cool.
Yeah, she's pretty sweet.
So that is my Sombra kit. Before we get over to Kristen's, we have some people that we need to thank, as always. First and foremost, we need to thank our supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. For those of you out there that don't know what Patreon is, it's an awesome way, kind of like a jogathon, that you can help support this show to grow and to add more content. And we currently have a bunch of supporters over there. So we want to thank everyone that is throwing us our buck or two every single week. You guys make this show happen, and it's awesome. So thank you. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to that website. Again, it's patreon.com/HeroesForge. Check out different ways that you can pledge per Prime episode of the show, and check out all the goals that we have to bring you some awesome new content in the future. Also, we want to thank everyone that has given us a 5-star review on iTunes. That also really helps the show grow. When people search for Heroes of the Storm podcasts on iTunes, it really helps the show show up with all the greats, all the great Heroes of the Storm podcasts out there that everyone should be listening to, especially if you have a long commute to and from work. All right, Kristen, let's get on to your kit here. What role classification did you go with?
As hinted earlier, specialist. She's hacking stuff, and that's such a unique thing to have. It's special.
Yeah, amen. It is special. So what trait goes along with that?
So the trait, I've taken her opportunist from Overwatch, and I really, really enjoyed this thing where you can see enemy health. So instead of being alerted when somebody's below 50% or something like that, it's going to be like the tower images. So if you can see an enemy's picture on the mini-map, it's going to show on that picture their percentage of health. Now, I know if they're on site, you can click to them, see their health, but who's got time for that, right? How much faster could you be if you can quickly look at the bottom side of your screen, see the percentage of health everyone is at, and know exactly where you need to go?
Oh, totally. Talk about if you are trying to set up a gank, right? So in top lane, KT is pushing really hard, and you don't know what his health is up there, but you can just quickly, jot down at your mini-map and see that, oh, he's got 30% health. If we come back up from around the other side of the lane, we can take him out. I mean, I like this. I think it's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, and imagine Sombra players being in charge of pinging the heroes that are next on the hit list, right? Or even knowing on a big map like Warhead Junction if it's even worth heading top or bottom.
Absolutely. And I'm just home brewing some talents in my mind of things you could do with this. Like, what if there was a talent you could take, kind of like Zul Jin, where you're able to reveal all of the enemy players on the minimap at a certain point of time? What if Sombra had some sort of hack like that, and you could see what their health was? I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And what if they're below a certain health percentage, and now they're on the map regardless if they're in sight or not? Yeah,
that's how you would do it. That is a great idea. I love it. All right, cool. What are you thinking for mounts?
All right, Mount, we're just going with a floating translocator. That's her big thing, it seems, are these little things that she chucks out. So what if we just have one of those big floaty things, and then everyone can have a translocator?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it basically looks kind of like... How do you
Gold
just?
from Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's right. It looks like something like that, or it looks like I mean, it's another Overwatch reference, but if you're the teleporter, right? It kind of spawns from this like spider-looking thing on the ground. That's what the translocator looks like. Yeah, I want it. Blizzard, take my money and give us a floating translocator. I love it. Okay, basic abilities. What's your first one?
Okay, this basic is hack and smack, and this is the hack thing because Sombra's gonna need a hack to keep with her character. Now, this ability allows her to hack enemy structures, including healing fountains. I like that we're both on the same there, and minions, and it renders them dead for a short period of time. Talent tiers for this one either increase its usefulness on structures, or you can then expand it to attack hero abilities and lock them down.
Ooh, interesting. So when you say it renders them dead for a short period of time, how does that work?
I'm thinking, when I built her, I was thinking very Sylvanas. Just the lockdown that hacking can do, just the delays that it can provide can be enough to really kind of turn the battle. So what if you hack the enemy minions and they stop moving for a bit so you can get into the back line, kill the archers, and suddenly your minions can push no problem? Or with the fountains, what if you can turn them off so that nobody can use those fountains, especially the enemy team? Or you turn off the structure. But because it would be focused more on single targets than group targets, the lockdown would be longer.
Nice. So it would completely change the way that you think of playing Sylvanas, right? I mean, you'd be focused on different things.
Yeah, and where Sylvanas is kind of the soft focus, lock everything down by rotating your basic attacks, Sombra would be single target focused. And you really hope your team follows up on where you're locking those towers down, because you only get one.
Yeah, and I love the idea of talent tiers for hero ability lockdown.
Exactly. You get close enough to one, or maybe it's a range that, like that whip thing she has, right, with her hacks. So she whips that purple string into a hero, and suddenly their abilities, the cooldowns, are all crazy.
Love it. So cool. And what a great name too, Hack and Smack. What's your second basic ability?
Second one is called Whack-A-Mole because it's kind of like the translocator, but with a little bit of a twist. She's got 3 charges of these translocators, and she can place them on the ground, each one within a required distance of another. So you can't chuck them wherever. They have to kind of line up in this area. And using her number buttons, she can then choose which one she appears at. So if she's fighting a Kael'thas, she can set up this triangle around him and whack-a-mole herself around and make him whiff his abilities.
Oh, it's great. Oh, KT or Kael'thas is a great example of one that would be really hard to follow somebody that's jumping around like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's different than Tracer, though, right? Because Tracer, you can jump anywhere. Here, you're able to jump just to where you're putting out these charges.
Exactly. So these things, the translocators, can absolutely be destroyed with basic attacks or area of effect. So you don't... I mean, a smart Kael'thas would probably cast a ground effect and kill 2 in one go, and suddenly you're kind of useless against him. But if you don't have somebody with that much control, you can just blow their face up.
Yeah, but every second counts, right? So if you're, casting a flame strike to take out 2 of these things, Sombra's on you already. And I mean, already trying to do some damage to you as you're wasting one of your abilities to take out one of hers. I like it. I love the counterplay to that. It is super cool. How about third basic ability?
All right, and the third one is Now You See Me, which is pretty much, it's Spot the Stealthy. She enters stealth mode, but it is that you can see it, and maybe she has a pink sheen because she really likes the color pink and purple, so maybe it goes back and forth between pink and purple. And she can't attack during this, but she does get that speed boost. The stealth mode is timed, so it doesn't really last too long. It's more of a way to do a Tracer teleport without needing time effect abilities,
No.
and any damage will knock her out of this.
This is so Overwatch, though. I mean, this is exactly the way her stealth works. It's great. I mean, it's kind of like a Reaper. It feels like Reaper in Overwatch to me, where you're able to activate your stealth and kind of turn into a cloud that travels through the battlefield, and when the ability's over, you pop back up, you know, you're right there. But with Sombra in Overwatch, I mean, you truly are invisible. I love the idea of this translating over into Heroes. You could really play around with that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, too, to counter it, you're rewarded if you can see the shimmer and you have abilities that can knock people out of the shimmer. Because then as soon as they go into it, you hit them and suddenly it's a useless ability.
Well, I hope, tell me this is true, that at some point you could talent into using whack-a-mole and now you see me at the same time.
Yes,
Oh,
it's true. Let's make it true.
Anything's possible here on HeroesForge. Because then you could go invisible and transport to one of your translocators. Ooh, now we're talking.
I like it. And then you can do the little help me Obi-Wan Kenobi. You have got little Sombras that show up. You're my only hope. Which one's the real one? Wouldn't that be cool? So kind of like a Sammy thing in there. But you could spawn fakes from the translocators.
Oh, that'd be really, really cool. And you could also like start playing mind games and spawn fakes of other heroes that are on your team.
Ooh, that would be nice. And suddenly there are 3 Janas surrounding some poor little Lily.
It's always Lily. That's great, Kristen. I like that ability a lot. Let's get into heroics. What's your first heroic?
All right, my heroics, I started out with 2. But then I came up with this one and went, you know what? It's so cool. This is going to be both of the heroics because I really want this one to be something that's talented into after you hit 10. It becomes your main way of controlling the field, and it's called Boop. I just love it. I love the Boop. Sombra loves nothing more than to control her adversaries. Using this heroic, the hacker gets in close to an enemy or structure and gives them her signature boop on the nose, or the closest thing to it. She might do something else. You know, there's flavor. Once booped, they now feed her information that becomes useful through the number pad. If a target nearby the booped thing is 10% health or below, she can hit an execute button. Kills them. The thing dealing the most damage next to the boop thing or the boop thing itself can be silenced. Or enemy locations can be revealed. Now, because this is the only heroic, the late game would really focus heavily on talenting into this for maximum payoff.
All right. I see what you're saying here with the number pad. So you've got your number pad keys keyed up to do these different things. And so you've marked a target, and you mark this target. How long are they marked by the boop?
Until you mark another target.
Okay. So they're marked by the boop. Until you mark another target or you use one of your abilities, or are they continuously, even if you, so they're constantly trying to not be below 10% health. They know that they could be silenced at any time. And then just continuously, they know that all of these other things, they can be revealed. They're booped. They're hacked.
Exactly. So the character or the thing is hacked, and they remain hacked until something else is hacked.
That is cool. That is really cool. Because talk about building into your trait here, right? So you want to see the percentages of health that these characters are at. You could be in the top lane. You could have booped someone down in the bottom lane, and you need to see what their health is. You activate your heroics so that you can see what their health is. Oh, it's at 12, it's at 11, it's at 10. Bam! You execute them from across the map. I mean, or does it have a range?
No, it is global, so long as it's within the sight range of the booped target. So anything within the sight range of the booped target is fair game to these heroic abilities that are a part of this heroic ability.
That is cool. This wins the day, I think. This is a great way to kind of manipulate the enemy team and have Sombra constantly in the back of their mind as they're playing the rest of the game. That's cool. So is there a cooldown ever for this? Or like if you boop somebody, do you have a long amount of time before you can boop someone else?
Yeah, there would be a pretty lengthy cooldown. We're talking upward of 100 seconds or more, just because you want to make sure that when you boop something, you boop the right target. So there's a lot of pressure to make sure you're choosing correctly.
Absolutely. And I'm just realizing every time that we say boop, it sounds like we're censoring something that we're saying. That's hilarious to think about.
That's so great. I love the censor joke. I love the censor beep joke. So if we ever get a chance to throw that into an episode,
we should.
Just cover my words with beeps and I will be the happiest camper ever.
I would start right there where you said, you really want to make sure that you boop the right target.
Exactly.
That's really great. What a great heroic. Okay, Kristen, sum it all up. How do you sum up your Sombra specialist?
Boop, there it is. Boop, there it is.
There we go. Another unnecessary censorship moment there. That would be really great. And Epic Lurker in the chat is drawing from the most recent Hearthstone video saying, "She's too OP. Run away. Run away." That's I love it. Very cool. Before we can call this Hero Forge, we have got to talk about the best part, which are specialty skins and dance moves. Let's start with Kristen this week, and we're going to start with dance move, believe it or not. Give me your Sombra dance move, shaking it up.
I can't even adapt this fast. Yes, I can. The dance move, the Mexican hat dance. And this is great. There are so many awesome ways to do the Mexican hat dance. And this is because she's Mexican and everything. But there was a joke with my husband and his sister with the Mexican hat dance. So at their wedding, at my sister-in-law's wedding, we requested the Mexican hat dance was played. But little did they know, Kyle and I had actually practiced a dance. So it wasn't one of those awkward, everyone standing there. No, how do you dance to this? But we had this total, it was amazing. And it was so cool. And ever since then, I've been in love with hat dances.
All right, so you're giving it to Sombra. She's going to do it in the battlefield, but she doesn't have a hat.
No, but what if she summons a fake hat and she throws on the ground and then she starts stomping around it and clapping?
Okay, I like it. Very cool. My dance move is what I'm calling the hacker robot dance. So whatever that means to you, listeners, whatever the hacker robot dance means to you is what she does. This is an exercise in imagination.
I like to imagine it's a robot, but maybe she hacks her limbs so they do things they're not supposed to be able to do.
Yeah, maybe there's a whole purple code thing going on while she does the robot. Does anybody do the robot in the Nexus right now? Somebody's got to do the robot.
I don't know, actually.
I don't know either. That's an interesting thing to find out someday. Now, we're talking about specialty skins now, so I have two ideas. My first idea is this is going along with my whole occupation skin collection. First one is web designer Sombra, right? I mean, she's gonna be she's web designer, you know? So she's got her jeans and, maybe blue light glasses that she sits behind a computer and, designs web pages all day. That's web designer Sombra.
Okay, so we wouldn't be going with movie web designer where she's got like a leather jacket and these glasses that she touches and they fold out or something.
No, we're talking about like actual janitor Leoric occupation Sombra, where this is her job. She's a web designer. Maybe she's wearing just like a t-shirt.
I like it, but that sounds like she's got a comfy job too, right? Because the comfiest jobs don't have you wear suits to the office.
Yeah, maybe she, because she's got this cool haircut, like Johanna looking sort of haircut. Maybe it's not an actual haircut. Maybe it's just bedhead. Like this side of her head is like all, because she slept on this side of her hair, so it's all smashed in, and maybe that's what it looks like. I don't know. Maybe she's disheveled. Maybe that's one of the skin variations.
That's adorable. I like it too because it would speak to the fact that she's all hacker, no social.
That's right. Well, the second one is a little more social. I'm thinking V for Vendetta Sombra. So the whole Guy Fawkes mask and whole V for Vendetta kind of feel.
Nice. Just the hat, the cape, just the straight up outfit.
Yeah, but Sombra style.
Oh, so how would you do it Sombra style then? I mean, the color, of course, would probably be purple pink.
Maybe it has like a Day of the Dead look to it instead of...
Ooh.
I love that style. I think the Day of the Dead artwork is just incredible. I think that's so cool looking.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, my goodness. And then I haven't seen Coco yet, but I hear, too, that is just fantastic art.
I mean, get ready to cry at some points. I mean, it's gut-wrenching at some points.
Oh, good. Just like Up? Well, I mean, better. I called what happened with Up in the middle when he finally looks through that stupid book. I called it, but that didn't stop me from crying for at least 20 minutes.
Toy Story 2. We're talking to you.
Toy Story 3, too.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, why do we pay money to do this stuff? What is your skin idea?
I went with Yanbra. I think would be really cute. And it's like Pajamather, but it's Sombra and she's in her jammies. And, you know, could she hack your dreams and make them nightmares? Maybe she'll hack your nightmares and make them dreams. But it's just like that.
Kristen, your ideas are so great. Do you sit here and you look at this Sombra name and think, all right, Sombra, that's it, Yanbra.
Exactly. That's how you get the puns. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're stretching it a bit, but they definitely force a different way of thinking. And then number 2, because of the Yu-Gi-Oh joke, why wouldn't she, oh my goodness, with the translocators, have that Yu-Gi-Oh dual disc and the cape that flares back, and she's already got the ridiculous hair, and she tosses out her dual disc.
I love it. Let's sign her up for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
Dual discs. Gosh, Yu-Gi-Oh tried really hard to be Pokemon at that point.
Oh, the evolution of that show is hilarious. And the sad part is there's this cool story about ancient Egypt, but then they fart off for a whole season. So sad.
Oh, man. Great skin ideas, great dance moves, great abilities, and heroics. We can say that Sombra has been officially forged.
HeroesForge.
What a blast. Sombra would be a hero that I think could make her way into the Nexus someday if Heroes of the Storm wanted it to happen. She's got some similar abilities, right? Like we were talking about with the Sylvanas kind of feel. The ability to hack things like healing packs in Overwatch could be a cool way to hack things like healing fountains in Heroes of the Storm. There's some cool ideas there. Some of these ideas could definitely be used if they were in Sombra or different characters. Some of them are OP and fun, but some of them definitely have a place that could work.
Yeah, and who knows with the reveal at PAX East what's going to happen, right? Because there's rumor that we're going to hear the story of Heroes and how it ties into the larger picture. So what if you called it, Jeff? What if this is a virtual playing space? And that would absolutely mean that Sombra's on her way.
Oh my gosh, what if that was it? What if this is not real? All that we've been experiencing and we're just in a dream within a dream, and this is like basically Thrall is sitting in a big comfy armchair in Orgrimmar, hooked up to his first level of dream, and Leonardo DiCaprio's over there and he's like, summoning earthquakes and stuff inside of his dream.
We gotta go deeper, and that would be the new tagline of Heroes 3.0. Go deeper.
Kristen, we just solved the puzzle. Somebody's knocking at my door. They're here to take me away because we solved the puzzle.
We leaked it. We leaked it here on HeroesForge first. We have no regrets.
That's right. I regret nothing. Very cool. Yeah, who knows? Stay up to date on PAX East because I am really, really excited to see what they do. I'm still crossing my fingers so that we see a hero that is centered from the Heroes of the Storm lore, and who knows, maybe we'll see a Raven Lord or a Gravekeeper or something like that. That would be really cool too. But Sombra is definitely somebody that I know I would like to see in the Nexus. It'd be really fun. All these Overwatch heroes would be a blast to bring in, and we've got a lot of them. So who knows when we will see the next one, and maybe it will be Sombra, but hopefully it will be Reinhardt.
Oh, do you think the Heroes community watches the popularity scales of the Overwatch heroes and pulls them in based on popularity?
Maybe. I don't know, but I would love to just see Reinhardt. I think that is something that we see in, I think it's League of Legends or Dota. There's a character that has a shield like that. There's some cool shield stuff going on that we don't really have in Heroes yet, and Reinhardt would be a great example of a hero that could do that. So who knows? I'm sure he's on their list of thousands of heroes that they could add in, which is what makes this show alive and makes it exist, is that huge list of heroes. All right, before we call the show here, we got some stuff to talk about. Kristen, where can people find you and all the great content that you put out on the interwebs?
You can find me at underscore, if I can say that correctly, Kristen Ashton _ Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
Are your streams back up and running after vacation?
Yes, they are. And we finished up the original Deus Ex and started up Deus Ex 2 Infinity War, which is hilarious because it started in Chicago and then went to Seattle. How weird that I followed the same path, Chicago to Seattle. But a lot of people were going, oh, this one's terrible. It's horrible. But I am having so much fun with this one. And Jaina is the voice actress for the main character.
Really? Cool.
Yes.
Well, that right there makes you just want to play the game.
Exactly. She hasn't said I'm here to help yet, though, so I'm waiting.
Okay, hopefully record it for me and let me know when she does say it. If you're looking for me, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record the show live every Sunday at 12 noon Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV. You know where to find us. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. Our website is heroesforge.club. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at ForgeHeroes, where you can vote on which one of these two kits you thought won the day. Send us an email, contact heroesforge@gmail.com, and a huge thank you again to all of our supporters on patreon.com/heroesforge. We couldn't do it without you. All right, Kristen, final thoughts on Sombra.
I think she's fun and she would bring even more peppiness to the Nexus, but I think unless they go with a computer map or something like that, I think you're right, Reinhardt. So, there's someone else on the Overwatch team that definitely I think is on the docket before Sombra.
Yeah.
Maybe even Brigitte.
Yeah, Brigitte would be really cool in Heroes. I mean, we got Johanna. I mean, imagine that front line, right? That would be really, really cool to see out there. A lot of unique abilities and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe we'll see Sombra one day. But until then, we'll catch you all later and see you in the real world.